When I was younger, it was the ultimate sign of independence when my mom would let my sister and I go to the mall with her, but she'd let us go together on our own. Of course, before any outing, she would give us sort of the rundown of this is how the behavior is going to be on this trip. And I can remember her telling my sister and I, okay, it's Christmas time, we're going to the store. You're not going to wear your really bulky coats. Let's wear the coats that are a little thinner, not too much. It seems like there's something under your coat. Make sure you keep your hands out in the open in front of you so people don't think that you're stealing anything. And I remember her explaining this all to me, and I thought, well, that's not the kind of stuff I do, but okay, Mom, got it. I'll follow these guidelines because I want to be able to go off on our own. And at that time, I didn't know that this was what people now call the talk. And I guess I didn't really realize it was the talk because this was just part of my everyday life. I understood that there were certain things that I did that I had to be more careful. I had to be more mindful of what I was doing that could be perceived as being of concern to other people. There were times as I got older that I realized if I went to a store, I might have someone working there watching me a little closely. And not just that feeling that someone's watching you, but actually turning and they're right there looking at me and then looking away like I didn't see them. One time I was in medical school and had to drive cross country from Illinois to Pennsylvania. And I recall that friends had told me, be careful when you drive through Indiana because there's some areas that have Klan groups present. And I took their warnings and I thought, I'm just gonna do my best to get to where I need to go safely. I stopped at a fast food place to get something to eat, but also I needed a break from driving on the highway. But as I placed my order, it just felt different as the cashier was taking my order. And something inside of me just said, let's just get this to go. Because as I waited for my order, I remember just turning and seeing the other people in the fast food restaurant looking at me. And I don't think I've ever gotten out of a fast food restaurant so quickly, so carefully pulled out of the driveway and just got back on the road and just ate as I drove. After all the training I did to become a physician, I recall someone saying to me, hey, do people treat you differently now that you're a doctor? And I had to think about their question for a second. It did take me college, then medical school, followed by residency, then another fellowship, and then I was practicing on my own. And I let them know that, not really. I'm not treated very differently because, sure, I'm a physician. When I'm wearing my white coat, you see a doctor, and people will treat doctors a certain way. But I let them know that no matter what, unless I have doctor or I'm a doctor written across my forehead, when people see me, they still see a black person. They still see a black person. Even saying that just chills me because these different habits that I had in childhood that I still practice today as an adult, that if I go to the store, I keep my hands out so people know I'm not doing anything. When I bought my car and I was driving in a new area, I made sure I had the registration in the glove compartment in case I got stopped. When I was pulled over in my car, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and they asked for my license and registration, I kept my hands in front of me and verbalized everything I was doing as I pulled out my ID card. It's sad when I see the events that have been transpired on television and in social media feeds, seeing the video of George Floyd's death, that I couldn't watch the video, but just seeing snippets and images was just a reminder to me again of, no matter what, whatever I do, whatever many other people that look like me do, we're just seen as black. And that's not right. Parents shouldn't have to tell their kids, this is how you need to behave when you go to places, because we want to make sure things are taken the right way. And that's why these protests are happening. As a child, I shouldn't have to be explained, this is how you may be treated because you're Black. Not that you've done anything, but because you're Black, this is the way people will see you. And even now, here in Sacramento, when Stephon Clark was killed by officers, when the news came out about it, I couldn't leave my house that weekend because I just had this feeling of, African Americans are just out there getting killed. And people might say to me, oh, but you've not done anything. You're a doctor. You're fine. You shouldn't have any fears. But again, I can't change the way I look to other people. And that is clearly not showing any difference. This is why I cry. This is why my heart has been hurting. This is why people are on the street protesting. This is why we're frustrated. This is why we're hoping that things are different in the future. This is why we need to take action. We don't need to have this pass on to the next generation. The generations of more of the talk needs to end. We need to recognize that Black lives matter. Black people are people. We're all people. We shouldn't be treating Black people differently and killing them and not having any repercussions for it. Thank you for your time.